Hello and welcome to this new tutorial where in Blender we will create shower gel. Now I say shower gel with air quotes because I'm sure you guys know what I mean by that. Now this is a recent render that I did of Emma Frost from the popular game Marvel Rivals. You see she's seated on the floor. She's just lying there on the floor, her back to the wall. This is another shot. Now we can see there's some sort of fluid on her lip, on her face there. We will use Blender, we will leverage geometry nodes in Blender to create that sticky fluid. And so that's what this tutorial is about. Geometry nodes allows us for proceduralism, and I will demonstrate the power of that. In math, there's a concept we're all familiar with called functions. We all learned this in elementary school. You put in a number, it processes that number and produces an output. So input, then the other end, after it processes that number, could be a number or a vector or a matrix, whatever. Produces an output. Now geometry nodes are like an elaborate function. There's an input, process of that input, which in most cases it's geometry. But in our case, the input will be a curve, a 2D curve that we draw. We will draw a 2D curve which is then projected onto some other geometry. Our geometry node network will turn that curve into a mesh that we could view. The output mesh would resemble the sticky fluid that we're trying to create. And this is a system that we could reuse over and over. Of course, we have to do the upfront work in building that geometry node network. Alright, so the first step is to draw our curve and project that curve onto some other geometry. Here I'm in Blender. I'm using Blender 5. Alright, I'm going to clear my workspace to give myself more room. Enable the screen keys thingamajig. Alright, that's working. I'm going to delete everything. I'm going to create a sphere and zoom in on that. Now I'm going to create a curve, Shift A, curve, Bezier curve. Where did it go? Review wireframe, and it's inside the sphere, so wait a minute. GY to move it out here. Now my curve is still selected. And hit tab, go to edit mode, and delete all the points. Choose A, hit A. So A just selects everything. X to delete the vertices. Now I'm still in edit mode. I'm going to hit draw and then proceed to draw. Now here's the problem. Our curve is just in space. It's not what we want. We want it projected onto the sphere. So I'm going to select it, go into edit mode, delete what I had before. Now with draw selected, I'm going to go all the way up here to tool. Go down to depth, dense surface. This is what allows us to project a curve onto a surface. I'm going to draw again, see what happens. Go to wireframe, and our curve appears to be projected onto the sphere. Alright, next step is creating the geometry node network. Alright, I'm in Blender. Let me revert it back to what it was before. Alright, now I'm going to the bottom here to drag this up. Top left corner. Go to Geometry Node Editor. And click New. Now I'm doing all this while our Bezier curve is selected. We're creating the network that will work on the curve, not the sphere. Bezier curve. Geometry node is a node-based programming interface which reads from left to right. On the left we have the input geometry, and the right we have the output for line connecting. Now it's very similar to what I had before here, the function analogy. In between the input and output, that's where we do our logic. I will hide the sphere and disconnect just to demonstrate something. I've disconnected that and our curve disappeared. I'll connect it back up, and now the geometry node is also a modifier. You select something, you go to modifier here, geometry node. Right here. So it's like a post-processing thing. We'll have the geometry, and then it'll have a logic that it does after the fact, and this facilitates a non-destructive workflow. So these things that happen, the modifier, they're not permanent. They're not committed. I'll demonstrate this with the sphere. I'll do a subsurface division, a subdivision surface. This is a modifier that's acting on the sphere, but our original sphere is still there. You know, if I hide this, this is the sphere. You know, it's still there. The logic comes afterward. I could delete this. Alright, so in our geometry node network, we will take our curve and turn it into a regular geometry that we can see. Right now it's just a curve. It's a 2D curve. We wanted to give it a physical body, that rest on the sphere, on the geometry. So we'll convert the curve to points. Well, I did a Shift and A, curve to points. Then convert that to a volume. Points to volume. Then back to a mesh. Volume to mesh. You'll see when it's a volume, it's like a fog. That's not what we want. We convert it to mesh, and that's what we have. Now, the reason why this seems like a convoluted thing, the reason why we're doing this is because when it's a volume, we have extra controls that we have that could influence the final geometry. It gives us more control by first converting it to a volume. So, of course, we're not quite there yet, and we still have some more steps to do. Our next step is to refine the geometry, to make it more fluid-like, of course. You'll notice that the resulted geometry is very triangulated. So we could, well, first off, in Blender, with regular geometry, we usually do right-click and shade smooth, to smoothen it out. Look what we did with the sphere. I'll hit Control Z. I'll do that again. Right click, that's on the sphere. We could do the same thing with the blob that we have here. We could do this in the geometry nodes. We don't have to right click. Control A. Set shade smooth. And this gives us the same functionality as the right click thing that we did. I'll go back and add more points. Don't know what exact values work. Just gotta experiment. Obviously that's too big. I'll add another modifier to smoothen it out. I'll use so I'm using a smooth modifier. Factor will be 1.5. Repeat will be 30 or 20 or 30, some high value. We're getting there. You notice that the geometry node network disappeared. It's because we have the smooth modifier highlighted. If we click back here, it comes back. Now modifiers, as I mentioned, are post-processing logic. It goes from up to down. So it executes the geometry node first, then the smooth operation afterward. So the order of operations is important. So we have to continue to play around with these values to get the look that we want. That's more fluid-like, I guess. Don't remember the exact values that I used before. This is too big. Let's try 0.75. And this is all happening non-destructively, which I'll demonstrate later. But we've smoothed out the resulted geometry. Next step is to create and assign material to the resulted geometry. So I will hit Z, go to rendered. This is what we have so far. I will create a world shader by clicking here, world properties, surface. Still can't see anything, so I'm going to give our sphere a red material. Click here, click on the sphere, click on material, new, give it a red color so we could see what's going on. I will click our little weird blob thing here. Then go to the shader network, shader editor. Create a new shader. I'll name it M Shower Gel. Give it some weird color like green or something. We don't see the changes happening, but we could do a material assignment in our geometry node network. So I will go back here, geometry node editor. After the shade smooth, Shift A, material, set material. So what was the name of the material? It's M Shower Gel. There you go. Now, of course, the shower gel, with air quotes, doesn't look like that. It's not green. It's a fluid. There's some transparency, right? So we have to go back to the shader network, make some changes. I'm going to change it to white. Let's see. Transmission. This is what gives us the fluid-like semi-transparent look. Increase it to the weight of 1. I will create we have a principal BSDF. I will create a principal volume also. And plug that in. Density. Maybe try 30. Decrease the roughness. Shift A, light path. We're going to use the camera's ray to, the length of the camera ray to influence the alpha. Like this. And that's what we have so far. I'll play around with these numbers. Alright. Next step is to demonstrate the proceduralism that I keep talking about. To prove that it's a non-destructive workflow. And to make our geometry node more like a tool. You'll see what I mean. Alright, so I'm back here in Blender. Our curve is still there, by the way. just click on this, hit tab. All the points are still there. We could we could select a point, hit E to extrude, and we could extend it. Hit E and Z to extend it downward. Play around the anchor thing there. E, Z. We could even start over. We could hit A, delete everything, start from scratch, using draw. Look at that. Our geometry node setup is a glorified function. All we gotta do is feed it a curve, and it does all this stuff. And it's a reusable tool. I will clone the sphere here. And enable snapping, face snapping. I could do this. See, it snaps to the face there. You can have a lot of fun with this. Of course, we have to refine some values to make it more. To make it look more like shower gel, of course, because it's not quite there yet. In addition to the curve, we could have more input variables. So my mouse here and the over the network, I'll hit Control Spacebar to maximize that, and I'll hit N. I'll bring up this menu on the side here, group sockets. Now we only have one input, which is the geometry. I want to add a radius and a resolution to that. So I hit the plus, input, double click to rename that from socket to radius. Create another input variable, resolution, and this is of type float, and these are the various input data that we could use: vectors, booleans, integers, strings, image. So this is a float, which is a decimal number. I want to divide the radius by the resolution, so Control Shift A, drop down a math node, radius divided by resolution. And then feed that. Well, I want to change the volume thing here from amount to size. Then the result of the division to be voxel size. Plug the radius here. Change the curve from points to length. Give it a really small size, 0.001. Now this node here is generating an error, which is indicated by the white box here. Input geometry has unsupported type, point cloud. That's because the input variables here, the floats, are 0. So control space to get out of that full screen mode. Select the curve, go to modifier, and look, we have we have an opportunity to type in our input variables here. So for radius, I'll do 0.1, resolution will be 2. The error has gone away, and our curve is back. And the final step is to make it look nice with HDR lighting. I'll also refine the curve. I don't like how it looks, so I'm going to redraw that. Draw. Play around with it. Extrude, select a point, extrude. Make it more fluid-like. You got to make it more convincing. We're making shower gel, though. Again, shower gel with the air quotes. It's not really shower gel. It's just. I just keep extruding to extend that, make it more slimy, Gotta make it convincing, Alright, I think I like that. What do you guys think? Is it convincing enough? Is it slimy enough? Just gotta change the lighting and incorporate HDR I. So you could go to Polyhaven. It's a common site that a lot of people use. Assets, HDRIs. Studio lighting. I don't remember which one I used, but I did use a studio light before. Because I don't really like the lighting. I'm go back to shader editor, world. Mix shader. Environment texture. Control T to get the coordinates. Now, that Control T shortcut is only possible with the Node Wrangler add-on. Let's see how that looks. A little better. It's the mix shader. You can use the camera light path, camera ray into the factor. This is what we have, is the final result. And this is all from a tool that we made with geometry nodes. Our tool, our glorified function, with 3 inputs: the geometry, radius, resolution, that you could type here. The geometry would be the curve that we draw. We could make alterations to the curve. All this is a non-destructive. This is the power of proceduralism, you know. I think geometry nodes is a worthwhile investment. It's a thing to learn. I'm going to bring in a Mixamo model and draw on that as well, just to see what it looks like. Alright, so I just brought in a model from Mixamo. You can use any model, of course, just to demonstrate this tool that we just created. Let me hide all this other stuff. Duplicate that. Delete all these points. Still in edit mode. Zoom in. Draw on a model. Let's see. So we could adjust variables over here, make it smaller, bigger. Just play around the radius. Our tool still works. Let me darken this guy out. Oh, look at that. The HDR gives it, you know, there's a nice shininess here. Let me try to make it smaller. Gonna draw some more. Oh man. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Well, that's it for this tutorial. I hope you learn a lot. If you want more geometry node tutorials, I'll be happy to oblige. I think they're cool, frankly. Kind of hard to understand, you know, steep learning curve and all that. But, you know, the next time you want to use this, you don't have to, you know, drop down all these nodes. You just, you know, it's a system. It's a reusable system. You know, it's just very powerful. So I guess that's it.